How does one create multiple two-point perspectives? We have worked with a single box, in two-point perspective, with the parallel lines to each other converge on the same vanishing point on the horizon. And if we have had two boxes, which we did in class, they have been sitting in the same orientation. So the lines on this side of this box are parallel to the lines on this side, so they go to the same vanishing point, and the same on this side and this side. But what happens if we have boxes sitting at different orientations to each other? We're still dealing with two-point perspective, where any lines that are parallel here go to the same vanishing point, but any lines that are parallel to these go to the same vanishing point. But we can see that because of the orientation, that vanishing point is going to be at a different spot on our horizon line. We start with one box. Normally, I start with the box that is closest to me because that will give me my primary line. Let's start here. I'm going to keep this small because I want to try to keep the vanishing points on this horizon. As we know, oftentimes the vanishing point will go off our paper and we have to estimate where it's going to land. Or you have a longer table and just find the point and draw it on the table while you're drawing. As I'm looking out at the box, I can imagine that by measuring from my horizon line, the primary line of my box is about 2 boxes from that horizon line. In other words, this lower corner is 2 boxes from the horizon line. Let's see if I can get this in here. So this will go 2, and up there is the horizon line. This is the corner we're starting with. This is our primary line. And remember, we have to keep perpendicular lines perpendicular. So there is our first line. We then go to figure out the approximate angle of the first corner and the second corner, or the first side and the second side. So here is our line of sight coming directly in. This is the line that is perpendicular to that line of sight. And now we do a nice estimate of this angle from that perpendicular line of sight to the angle as it goes off in the distance. And I'm going to say it's not a very large angle. Here's our 90 degrees. Let's say it's about 30 degrees. So we estimate that, and that gives us our first line for the illusion of this box sitting in perspective. And that will continue out to our horizon. Now that we have that line, this gives us our first point of the vanishing point for that box, any box in the same orientation of that box. Then we will estimate the other angle. Let's say this one goes off at about 20 degrees. That is going to go out to the opposite side of the horizon line to our vanishing point here. So we know any line that is parallel in reality to this line will converge on the same vanishing point. All right. And here is our primary side. This is the thing that we use as our unit of measure, and all aspects are built on that. The next thing we have to do is determine the illusion of the length of this side. In other words, this back corner, how far from this corner is that? And we do not follow the perspective lines to do that. We need to do that in relationship to the measurement of this line. So as we look at it in the distance, that's our 1 unit of measure, and we're going to say it's about 1 unit of measure out to that line. And we want to keep this horizontal at this point. I'm going to say it's right about there. So this distance horizontally, let me use my straight edge to just get this across. This distance is the same as this distance. That's our unit of measure. So that's where that line is going to be, and it sits vertical in space. And the same on this side. We measure it again, 1 unit of measure, 1 unit of measure to 1.5. So here's our unit of measure, heading out this way, 1.5, right about here. That's what that other far side of that cube is going to be. So we just have a rough measurement. It's not rough, it's actually quite accurate. But now from the top corner of this, we know any line that is parallel in reality to this line is going to converge on the same vanishing point, which is out here. We'll just start a line across. I'm going to go with the blue so it's lighter. Continues all the way out. And the same, the parallel line, the top line of this box going off to this vanishing point. There. Now, by bringing up these vertical sides, we now have the first 2 sides of our box. All right, this is kind of a review. Now, the top part of the box, we have this line, and then that back line. That back line is parallel to these 2 lines and is going to go to that same vanishing point. I know this is review, but we're going to get there. And the same on the back side. This parallel, parallel, parallel will go to this vanishing point. Now we have the shape of our first box. We can now define it and make it stronger. There's our box. Now as you're drawing, you probably do this with lighter lines because you're going to be adding another box in the same space as this one. But this next box, we're going to treat totally separately from this one. So let's say another box is sitting off to the side here, just slightly behind it. And we see that that box is very close to our horizon. And we're looking again at, this box is going to be taller and thinner. We're going to be looking at the closest corner of that box. We also want to figure out where this box sets in relationship to this front corner. Where is the front corner of that next box? I'm going to bring it off to the side here and a little bit up in space. By being up, it's also setting it back in space. Let's make this one a little taller. Again, by measuring it, and we're starting with the comparison of this unit of measure. If you have that box in front of you, how tall is this box in comparison to that? I'm going to say it's 1.5 of this primary line. So 1.5 right there. So we can see that this box is actually going above our horizon line. There's our primary line for that box. We have it now in relationship with this box, but we're going to set it back in space, and we need to treat it completely as its own box. So we do the same steps. We find our point of view, our direction of view. the line that is parallel to that, and now I'm ignoring this because I've started already putting it in relationship to the other box. And what angle does this go off? This one's sitting at a sharper angle, just because I'm deciding that. And we'll decide that this one's about a 45-degree angle off this way. And then this for that first bottom side, and the other one is going off a little bit more, just maybe 10 degrees or so. So we can see here that because this box is sitting at a slightly different orientation in space, it will, I gotta sharpen my pencil, it will head off through here to a different vanishing point. So again, any line that's parallel to this line in space needs to go to this vanishing point. And any line that is parallel to this one needs to go to this vanishing point. So we have this one. This line in reality is parallel to the baseline. It's just at a very dramatic angle. And then this line and this line are parallel to each other. Now we determined in relationship to this, how far out, this is now a unit of measure, how far out from this side horizontally is the back corner of this box. I'm going to say it's a long, thin box, so it's about a quarter of this. So there's, oh, and there's about a quarter, so that back side's going to be right about there. And on this side, it's the same. I'm going to measure it out and I'm going to say, oh, it's about the same distance out here. So see, what we've done is we've just found out where we did this line parallel, 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 and now we have determined the illusion of how far from this corner is that corner there, the illusion of it, and how far from this corner is that corner over there. Now, one interesting thing about this box is because this is like a house almost, if we're standing beside a house, that because the top of the box is above the horizon. Oops, I forgot to do this one, sorry. Because it's above the horizon, we're not going to see the top of this box. And we can see now it's at a slightly different angle from this front box. And of course, if you want to see that a little better, there's that box. Let's put another one down here. We measure about how far from the horizon it is. We look at it, go down, there's the horizon, our eye level, this is our eye level. And the corner of a forward box, we're going to make this one a little short guy, kind of like this one. And we're going to put him down in here. Here's his front corner. Step by step again, the vertical primary line. Our line of sight, that line at the base of our corner that is perpendicular to our line of sight. We now estimate the angle that this one goes off. I'm going to make this one about 15. And you have to, getting used to this angle, I mean, again, this is 90 degrees, so half that is 45. A third of it is about 30 degrees, so this is probably more like 20 degrees. And then this is I'm going to say this one's about 45 degrees. So there's a 45-degree angle for that base of that side of the box. Whoop. My vanishing point went off. any line that is parallel to that, the parallel line from the top corner of the box, goes to this vanishing point. This one is going to go off my paper as much as I tried to keep it on the paper. Way off over here. So this one is going to go approximately the same spot. Out there. And even my table's not big enough for this one. We measure how far from this front corner, using that as our unit of measure, imagining a horizontal line here, that the right side is about 2 of that, 1, 2, so it's going to be out about here, and the left side is going to be about 1, so right about there. Now we have the front 2 sides of our box. We know that in reality, this line and this line, which are this and this, are parallel to this one back here. So the back one here has to go off to that same vanishing point. And this one, and this one go to the same vanishing point. Because this box is lower, we can see more of it, more of the top of it from where we are located. So you can play around with this type of exercise all day. You just continue to follow the step-by-step instructions I had. I'm just defining the lines right now. Follow those step-by-step instructions of how to do a cube and do it one at a time. We now have 3 cubes in space, sitting at different orientations. If you have any questions, let me know.